The reason you can't get yourself to stick to a workout routine, get back into the gym, meal prep the way that you want to, do all of the things that you feel like you should be doing is not because you're lazy or unmotivated or because somebody else is actually more right than you. You through today's vlog to kind of chat through some of the things to help you break through those barriers, to start to make changes, to start to do this in a way that doesn't have you spending the next 50 years thinking about how you're going to try this new diet or how you suddenly need to be obsessed with this food. We are going to dive in deeper than that because there's more to have a conversation about. So, good morning, guys. First part of that is a morning routine, because I feel like that's something that we create a lot of guilt and pressure about. And when we have this idealized version of what it should be, and we wake up and we don't do it, and we keep believing that that's the only version and the best version, and then we wake up and we keep doing that, we find ourselves, again, putting ourselves in that position of living in a state of feeling like we're always failing ourselves, kind of breaking down that trust that we have with ourselves, and then just not being able to show up in any other area because we've put everything on that one point of our day. I kind of walk you through breaking this down for yourself because it's one of those things that's not exactly general. There's ways to kind of navigate this individually, but at the end of the day, there's all of the stuff that's kind of in our heads. We have to suss out why we feel like it has to be this way, why we feel like it's the most important that it's done this way, and what we feel like doesn't happen for us or isn't able to happen for us if we aren't doing it XYZ way. So in my case, the morning workout, I used to be good about that. That used to be a thing for me, and it is 11:15 when we're going on this walk today. That used to be a very consistent part of my day, and there are times where that's really served me, but then other times it just hasn't been the most fitting. You realize that it doesn't have to be a morning routine. That might be that you think that the only way that you can be successful is if you work out first thing in the morning, because that is quote what successful people do. But I bet if you sat there and thought about it long enough, you could think of tons of people who actually don't follow that routine. Tons of artists, tons of people who are touring, tons of people who have really kind of quirky schedules. They just do it in a different way, but they're not as loud about it, and it's not this big theory that we feel like we all have to do. So the pressure for the morning routine and having to work out first thing in the morning isn't actually the ultimate answer. It's just a thing that we bought into, and when we feel like we can't do it or we don't do it, or it's not aligned for us, then we treat it as how the determining factor for whether or not we can succeed, whether or not we can do all of these other things. But it's not actually true. So we're going to reframe the question, and it's going to be, what is going to feel like the most supportive routine for me right now? What are the things that I feel like my body needs? What do I feel like would feed my soul? What would make me feel the most abundant and supportive version of myself right now? And let that change, let that transition, let that be something that is adjustable and adaptable for you, because what I found and what I think is most common is that we do one of two things. We do the first one, and that we pick a thing and we stick to it, and we force ourselves to stick to it in the name of discipline. We stick to it for far longer than we should, and somewhere along the way we were being guided to something different. Somewhere along the way something more available was going to happen, or we're so stuck in the mindset that that's the only way that we'll actually do the thing, that when we need to adapt, we aren't able to adapt, and that creates other problems. But the other side of that is that we can only really do these things from the most healed version of ourselves. And as we continue to allow for that pain and those things to kind of come through, to release and to create more space for joy and happiness, the ways in which we want to do this, and we get to do this when we believe it's possible for us, are different. And we don't need to the very same strict habits, because we get to keep things as standard. They just always exist for us. They're adaptable, they work in different ways, but they exist for us. And we have to kind of give ourselves space to meet the version of ourselves that is able to experience more joy, versus holding ourselves locked in to the version that we think has to be required in order to do all of these things, and therefore ultimately keeping us stuck for even longer. So now that we completed our walk, let's get ready to go cancel my gym membership. And we're going to talk about why you might want to be working out and feel like you can never actually make it stick or get yourself into the routine of it during the process. But I made my little post-workout smoothie. I love this little combo. It's so great. It's a nice, just easy afternoon moment. So I did mixed berries that are frozen. I don't do ice because that makes it more just watery than anything else. A little bit of almond milk, a little bit of water, a little bit of lactose-free Greek yogurt, and then the Be Well by Kelly protein. And simple, easy. There's enough sweetness in the protein for me that it sets everything up and it makes it really tasty. Now I'm going with a very basic outfit for the day because I need to come back and do some admin. We're at the time of the year where it's kind of always stand-up weather in Florida, but I think we're gonna go with the Chloe slide just because I have one errand to run before we do some admin. And then let's pick some jewelry while we kind of talk about why you can't get yourself to work out. So for a lot of us, when we're kind of introduced to the idea of working out as kids, it really comes from a space of weight loss, you know, where you might play sports, but there's still a lot of connotations around it. But well, for so many of us who didn't play sports, and we're kind of coming to that place as adults where we want to make working out a thing and we're finding it really hard to make it really consistent. And this is my issue for years before I really understood this. I've only ever been taught to correlate working out with losing weight. And the problem with that is that ultimately that doesn't make it stick. It means that you have something that will help you achieve a goal, but it doesn't necessarily give you some kind of immediate, like, I get something from doing this today. You need to kind of have that, like, I'm getting something from investing today, but there's also something I'm going to get because I've compounded this kind of investment, if that's the vibe. It's why we have issues with saving. It's why we have issues with so many different other things, because we don't know or haven't quite figured out what that, like, immediate, like, gratification is for us. That being said, we have an impossible time getting into a workout routine because we're either only picking workouts that we feel like we should do or have to do, or will achieve the result of us losing weight, because that can be a valid goal for you. You might feel like you would feel better at a different weight. You might feel like you would feel more supported in your body to live the life that you want to live at a different weight. That is totally a valid experience, but you don't really want to keep that mindset for the rest of your life. And you're kind of subconsciously aware of that. Like, it's not sustainable for you to say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life losing weight. Because really, that's not what any of us want. We want to figure out how to build a lifestyle that just naturally allows us to maintain the weight and the body that we want to have, and that we get to have it with ease. So you're picking workouts that are only being chosen for the ultimate goal of losing weight, and it's not something that you have another connection to. So for instance, when I decide to work out, many of the reasons that I work out these days is that, and there's a laundry list of them, which is why this varies for me, but it's that I want to feel supported in my body. I want to feel strong in my body. I want to feel capable in my body. I know that, like, I can reach and kind of tug and pull and move throughout the day and feel like I'm helping my body to navigate weaker spots so that I'm not dealing with lower back pain because certain muscles in my body aren't working as well. I want to be able to travel the world and comfortably go for a run no matter where I am, because I feel like that's a beautiful way to experience different cultures at different places. But that means even if I'm not always running, or I'm kind of getting back into what feels like my running routine right now, I have to kind of maintain that stamina. That might look like for me at some point, that I want to be able to easily run and play with my kids. I want to feel like I have that level of energy, that level of activity, that I am really creating that like extra level of childhood, that it's not like, oh, sorry, I can't play with you, or oh, sorry, you have to do that by yourself. Like, I want to create as much of that magic that I feel like I didn't get as a kid for my kids and for myself. But in the same time, it's saying all that, I am also somebody who really looks at, how do I want my biggest life to live? What do I feel like the biggest version of my dreams and my life looks like? And for a really long time, I struggle with the fact that if I'm honest about that, if I'm really kind of just being fully aware of what I need and what kind of comes from this space of working out for me, I want something that feels flexible and allows me to engage my curiosity. If I have a week where it just sounds like a lot of fun to do Pilates, or maybe I'm having a week where I just feel like I need more social interaction in my bubble, that I'm able to do that, but I can still fit weighted workouts in my routine and not feel like I am so bound to something that it doesn't allow me to support my mental health, my spiritual health, my overall wellness in the best way possible. We're not really honest with what we want from our workouts when our only experience and expectation is that we need to work out to lose weight. Then we get kind of trapped in that cycle of only trying workouts that we hate, not feeling ultimately supported by our workouts, or feeling like we're constantly procrastinating them because it's not actually something that is the full reason that we could or want or should want to be working out. There are different approaches to that. So when you kind of take that off the table, because you recognize that like you're going to live a lifestyle and you're going to create a lifestyle that you're going to maintain, that's going to help you support yourself in all of your health goals, and that you get to start that now, and that it gets to be easy. When you kind of take that off the plate, then you have to start breaking down mentally, okay, what do I want to feel when I'm working out? How do I want to feel supported? Is that an experience that I can give myself? Is there something I am emotionally avoiding by avoiding working out? There's more kind of things to break down in that way. And I go through all of this in 75 Love. And I wanted to give you guys stuff that you can be actionable with here, but the mindset of how to kind of keep this sustainable and to keep this a thing that you're doing consistently with whatever comes up in your life, was big, just kind of things happening where suddenly you no longer have access to certain stuff. Or like in the case of COVID, I remember I kind of started inching towards not wanting to go to the gym and not realizing that like I was almost being like spiritually nudged ahead of time to want to work out at home and to find this adaptableness and to have that curiosity, exploration, so that I could keep and maintain consistency in movement in my body. So I hope you kind of peel that back a little bit more so you can look at what you actually want to get from this so that you are able to achieve that. And then it becomes more consistent and more standard and something that you're able to do, but also something that you're able to kind of touch in with yourself at moments where it feels like this isn't working and you need to adapt. I help you kind of walk through that too. So you're getting some of that in today's video, but I will leave the link for that in the description box below, and you have it for life. So it's one of those things that like you always have it, that it's there when you feel like I'm having trouble getting this to work. You can find a way to kind of step it back and figure out, okay, this is why this is not working for me in a way that maybe I'm having a bigger impact on than I'm realizing. If you're new to my channel, you might not know that I have an obsession with Honey Love. This is not sponsored, but I am wearing the bra as always today, and I just feel like it's one of those things that doesn't give you extra back rolls for the sake of giving you back rolls. It's a really annoying thing with bras, and we all know that it exists. And the fact that I'm wearing such a tight hugged shirt and I have no rolls going on, like none. See, zip, nada. Wild to me. I will leave a link. Actually, the link is always in my description box for my discount if you guys want to shop it and check it out. But they also sell it in stores near you, and they have two different versions, one that's a little bit higher, one that's a little bit lower. It's just so comfortable. I am obsessed with these bras, and I tell everybody about them because everybody who hates bras or hates how your body looks in bras, these are a game changer. Membership is officially canceled. I don't know why gyms make you come in to do that, because I called to do it and I literally just gave them my name, my phone number,
wrote down today's date and signed, but it is all sorted. I am honestly loving my at-home workout so much more. It's just a lot more flexible with my current routine, and I'm honestly quite happy with that. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I think since I'm already out and that took me literally 60 seconds, I'm gonna go get a cheeky little matcha. I've been making them all at home so much recently that I haven't gotten one from Mama Vita in a while, and I really do love their matcha.
I wanted to take a moment to talk about something that I said at the intro of this video, and that's the idea of somebody else being more right than you. And this is a societal thing that we don't really consider, but it's the thing that keeps us stuck for even longer, is we dismiss the ideas and the desires that we have in order to kind of pursue the version of this that could work best for us, because we are so stuck on the idea, or at least I have been, of it has to be a certain way. I have to do it a certain way. It has to go in this specific order. I have to do it this many days a week. I have to do it this specific way. And when you stop to kind of think about it, you start to go, okay, well, who told me that I had to do it that way? And who taught me that that was the way that this had to work? And when you break that down, you start kind of seeing the patterns, and then you realize, is everyone always going to be more right than me? Because at some point I have to be able to make decisions for myself. Maybe they just have really good marketing. Maybe it just feels like an idea that everybody bought onto, and now they're suddenly telling everybody that it's the ultimate truth, and it's not actually the version of me that gets success. Maybe there's an easier way for me to do this. Maybe there's a way that I just haven't heard about, because there's so much knowledge in the world and so many people in the world that I haven't been exposed to it yet. But I'm being gifted it from, maybe it's a higher power, maybe it's a really subtle nudge, maybe it's a random comment on a TikTok video, because that has given me some infinite wisdom before. But the idea that everybody is always more right than me will talk you out of making changes every single time that are the most aligned for you. And we know my kind of conversation is, am I setting myself up for success, or am I setting myself up for failure? And coming into kind of setting myself up for success really ultimately comes back to, am I being honest with what I desire to get from this? What is the feeling that I'm hoping that I achieve from doing this thing? And when you start to look at that a little bit more, and you start to examine what you're hoping to feel and what you're hoping to have, you allow yourself to have more. You allow yourself to experience more. You let it be better, but you also open your mind up to solutions that are more supportive and make you feel happier and make everything that you're trying to do to live your best life and to feel your healthiest mentally and physically, it becomes less of a chore, because you're allowing yourself to feel supported in the process. Now, obviously, food is a big one, because there's so many conversations about diet. There's so many conversations about how you should eat, what you should eat, the way you should eat. And I know that for myself, I've spent a lot of the last 2 years really working through the fact that I just wanted to have the most neutral, healthy relationship with food. I really wanted to trust that my body could tell me every single day what it needed, that I didn't need to wake up and say, I have to eat this at this time. It has to be really specific, that I could honor and listen to what my body needed, and that I could adapt in any situation. And I felt like I had control over my ability to feed myself. And it wasn't that everybody else had more power in saying what I could and couldn't eat and how I could and couldn't show up in the world. And that has served me beautifully in the last year, because I've really kind of broken down some of those limiting beliefs. I've really been able to kind of create space there for myself. Now I'm making the changes to kind of tweak that even more, but there's been little chapters of how that's had to go for me in order for me to make that choice that I'm at right now. But what this sometimes looks like for people is we're not honest about what we kind of need to feel the most supported in our season. So we go through these phases of saying, I really, I can never eat healthy. I'm too busy. I feel like I'm constantly ordering out. And we have the desire to eat healthy. We have the desire to say, I want to feel supported and nourished with food, but I'm not taking the moment to say, I want to feel supported and nourished with food. It feels important to me that I have a diversity in what I eat. I like to not have to eat the same meal all of the time, and I'm choosing to believe that I get to be supported in that. When you start to label it that way, instead of just constantly looking at, well, I have to do this in order to achieve this goal, or I have to do this in order for this to work. When you allow yourself to feel like you can acknowledge your needs and desires and wants, then the solutions can come to you. And that might be that you start subscribing to a meal subscription service, that you find a new alternative way to kind of make this happen. Maybe you find a local chef that does weekly pooling with a few people and it's actually more affordable and less than your DoorDash budget to invest that way. The solutions are available, but we aren't acknowledging the desire of what we want fully underneath in order to have it. We get stuck on the hamster wheel that we've been talking about for most of this video of we're setting ourselves up for failure because we're not acknowledging what we want and what we truly need and what we want and desire to feel with our choices.